Good evening, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Empower Her Talk Show. Hi, I am Coach Celeta, and this is an opportunity we can learn so many things together. First of all, I want to thank AOC for this opportunity. I also want to thank LUS and Cox Cable for allowing us to come and uh, cherish or be a part of your lineup. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, I am Coach Celeta, and this is a new show. We're going to have so much going on. We're going to be interviewing people. We're going to be talking about different books. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. So the name of the show tonight is "How Are You Feeling?" Okay, and regardless of how you feel, it's a good question to ask. And are you asking yourself that? Are you taking time out and saying to yourself, how am I really feeling? Are you taking some time where you're within you, you're by yourself, and you can actually say, look in the mirror and say, how am I really feeling? Maybe you need to journalize how you're feeling. Maybe you need to make a checklist. And we're going to talk about journaling because, you guys, look, if you've never journaled, I'm going to journal with you guys because I've journaled a lot. I have this big plastic bin with all my stuff in it. And if you're a sticker type person, I have stickers and everything. And I'm going to show you some of the things that I do. And I'm going to recommend some books that are great for journaling. Okay. Um, they're, they're a little pricey, but they're great to have. And I've learned so much from my books using these journals that I created a couple of my own. Um, but I want to go ahead and get started and talk about how you're feeling. I want to also, in the same sentence, I want to talk about, and we're going to go through some things in these books. I told you guys that I am an author and I have self published about 15 books, I think about 15 books. And one of the books that I self published was this one, In Search of You. Okay. And it says, A Guide to Finding Your Self Worth Out After a Life Changing Event. And then this is the workbook that goes with it. So we're going to talk about both of these. Very cute things to have, you guys. Okay. Um, so I wrote this book at a time when I started questioning my purpose. Okay. When I start questioning my purpose, I realized that there's a lot of things that I didn't realize. Well, I realized there was a lot of things that I didn't know that I know. I, I realized that I was missing out on a lot of things in life that I thought, and I didn't pay attention to myself enough, or I was too preoccupied to pay attention to things that I was actually losing in my life process, in my life generally, like when it comes to my feelings. And I noticed that a lot of things were changing within me. And I was trying to figure out, well, what is going on? So, this book right here, writing this book right here, really, really, really helped me. It's not a big book, but it has some real, real good things in it. And I want to share some of the things in this book that I wrote. Um, if you're interested in a copy of this book, my email address is you can't clip my wings at gmail.com. You can't clip my wings at gmail.com is our email address for that. And you can definitely hit me up and we can discuss it. Okay. So, I basically said, and this is the introduction, I just said this book was written out of a necessity for not only myself, but for others who feel as though we need to re examine our self worth. Okay. According to positivepsychology.com, self worth is the core of our very selves, our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are intimately tied into how we view our worthiness and value as human beings. Okay. This book will explore some of the ways we can use to reach our understanding of how we handle our self worth when life changing events take place. Because you can have something that happens to you, a death, a divorce, a separation, anything, a loss of a job, and it changes how you really see yourself, you know? And it goes back to how are you feeling? I put that together because it makes sense. How are you feeling? How is your self worth right now? How do you see it on the level 1 to 10? How do you see it? One being the lowest and 10 being the highest. How do you see it? Okay. So I thought this would definitely be something that we can discuss. So I'm not going to go through the whole book, but I definitely want to um, read some things from here. Um, One of the things that I wanted to share with you guys was so I wanted to share with you the three R's. Okay, we talk about the three R's, and the three R's. You're saying, well, what are those? The three R's are restorations, resolutions, and resiliency. Okay, so when we talk about restoration, it means to think about taking back your power, restoring your mindset, and reassuring that you can move forward. Now, let's go a little deeper. Restoration can also be seen as a renewal of your inner self. Okay. When traumas, tragedies, your feelings of inadequacy and not believing in one's self, restoration is a way to bring back to you or change all your negative feelings about yourself to positive feelings. Now, if you never recognize yourself, excuse me, if you never recognize the positives about you from beginning, restoring can be useless. If you've never paid attention to those, that's where I said sometimes we get so caught up in things and we never pay attention to what's really going on with us. Okay. So when you haven't recognized them, okay, and you've always looked at things as something being negative, you don't know that you need to be restored. You don't understand. You don't get it. Okay. In other words, and I'm not saying it in a way that I want you guys to think that I'm being mad about it, but you don't pay attention to it because it's never been in the forefront. Okay. For example, I felt good about myself. I was self assured. I was confident. I was strong. I trusted myself. But when an incident happened, which in the book is talks about the idea that I was raped, when that took place or when it happened while I was in the military, I no longer felt all those things. Those were positive attributes of myself. I didn't feel them anymore. They left. Okay. I got so caught up on the pain and the trauma that I didn't I didn't feel all the good things. I felt lost. I was angry at myself because I felt it was my fault. Because you know it, whenever something like that happens to you, you automatically start blaming yourself. I was no longer in control of me. After many years of feeling depressed, disappointed, and disillusioned, I finally got the help I needed, or maybe I should say, allowed myself to accept the help that I needed. Because you have to do that. You can get the help, but you have to also accept the help. Okay. It is an ongoing battle, okay, because I still have days that are rough, but I'm able to handle them a little bit better. So after all those years, that's been years, many years ago, I'm at a point now where I'm more comfortable with myself. I'm more self assured again because all of that left. I was going through life just surviving, just, you know, um, life being wherever it needs to be. It just wasn't I was doing what I was supposed to do in order to survive. That's basically so how I mentally felt really wasn't, it was important, but it wasn't. And I didn't concentrate on it enough to make it important until I realized that I have to do something. I have to make it better. Okay. Um, my restoration was waiting for me. It wasn't that it needed to come. I needed to go ahead. It was sitting there waiting for me, and I just didn't take it on. All I had to do was take my power back, okay, and understand that I could live without anger. I could live another day without blaming myself, and I didn't have to feel as though I wasn't able to be loved, because all of those things play a big major part when something traumatic happens to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be my situation. It could be anybody's situation that they felt like a trauma that took place in their lives really took all of those powers that you had before, where you felt safe, where you felt loved. All of those things kind of get snatched out or disappear, okay? Because you're so concentrating on the trauma and the pain, okay? So the next word we talk about is resolutions. Can we be a firm? Can we be a firm decision? Can it be a firm decision to do or not to do, and the quality of being determined? Okay. This screams power once you resolve to make a change in your life, okay, for the better. It's a firm decision, and you're determined to make sure you stay the course. So once you find the resolutions, okay, on how you're going to do these things, how the answers, resolutions is another word for answers, or resolving something. Once you restore your power, the next thing is to resolve all the issues that needs to be taken care of, or decisions that need to be made. You can also look at this with the mindset of resolving some underlying issues, we may have with ourselves, okay? Seeking help, whether it's a friend or family member, even your mental health provider, can help you to start wanting to heal. Because resolution, the answer to rest, once you get the restoration, is the resolution is to heal, because that's the ultimate thing, is to being able to heal, okay? Without the healing, you can't move forward, okay? You can't go on. You can't, and a lot of us are living in this limbo. A lot of us are still living in this time of our trauma, okay? We have not moved forward from our trauma, okay? So the ideal that we wanted restoration, we found the solution, okay? Um, So now we want to heal since we found the resolution. The resolution to all of this is to heal, okay? And because of my past tragedies, okay, I had to resolve issues not only mentally but emotionally. So all of this is involved. The trust issues, the self-esteem issues, and feeling awkward didn't help at all. So, all messed up. I had to learn how to love myself again, okay? Changing how I viewed my life in general. Resolution has to play a role in your journey, in searching for yourself, for your better self, okay? And spending time being determined and having a firm decision in healing and growing as you forge a path to the ultimate new you. So, all these play a part in it. So, the last one is resiliency, okay? We know resiliency means to bounce back, okay? So, we restored, we found a solution to it, and now it's bouncing back. All that you've used, all the tools that you use, now you've got to see, if I go through something like this again, can I bounce back? So it says the capacity, resiliency is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, excuse me. Now, in some instances, we can recover quickly, but what about the long-term damage that takes place with many of us? Remember, I said there's a time when we're stagnant, we're still in that traumatic mode, we've never moved out of it. Long-term damage can sometimes come in many phases in our lives, from childhood trauma to adult trauma. So, how does resiliency play in this? So, how do we say resiliency plays in this? And this is another example. I remember during the time in service, we were programmed that when we got sick to just suffer it out. It was looked upon harshly to go to our team medic. Okay. Um, when you did, it was conveyed as a sign of weakness. So you were not, it wasn't a good thing to go to see your team C. It's called team C, which is just it's, a medical little medical clinic that you go to whenever you're hurting or you're sick or whatever. Well, when you came back, when you went, it was a problem. It was a problem for your superiors, okay? And then you were looked upon if you weren't. It was like a sign of weakness to go to see medical clinic. It was frowned upon. So what you found yourself doing is you found yourself actually just holding the pain because you didn't want to be ostracized and you didn't want to be seen as a weakling. Okay, so we were told to take Motrin and go back to work. That's what they basically told us whenever we hurt. So if you did go, and if by chance you were really hurt, you would receive a profile. This is where you are deemed on the injured list, okay, for a certain period of time, or your activities were limited, okay. Um, you are what they would call being out of commission. Yeah. During this time, you can become ostracized, which I said, by your team, by your squad, by the people that you work with, because you can't do anything. We go to war, we can't use you for anything, That's basically how it was in the military. So a lot of things people hurt in silence. They held their pain in silence. Okay. Um, and because of that, you mightn't have been the same for everybody because everybody didn't have that. But I know with the job that I had, it was looked upon to go get help because my job was very physical. Um, so with me having a very physical job, when I'm out of commission, if I hurt myself, I'm out of commission. I can't do anything. And when you're in a job where you're highly needed, your work and your expertise is highly needed, it's kind of hard for everybody else to continue to do the job without you being part of the team. So what you do is you suffer through. And we took that as an adult as we got out the military. We took that sitting back and not saying anything, resilience, bouncing back after that, going through something and being quiet about it until you get through it because you were put in a position where you had no other choice but to not complain, okay, about any illnesses. Okay, and if you were, again, they made you seem like you were weak and you were not good for the team. Okay, so the resiliency is go through it and bounce back and then get back into um, the place or the position you were in. Okay, um, I realized that I had to be strong. I had to look like I was all together, even though there was times when I wasn't sleeping. I was working full-time job. At the same time, I was a single parent of a son. There was no time to cry, and there was no time to heal. So I stayed in a survival mode all the time. And there's a lot of us like that. We're in a survival mode now. We're just trying to survive. We're just trying to get through it. Can we do it? You know what I'm saying? So that is why it's important that we pay attention to our emotional and mental health, especially during a traumatic time in our lives. Okay. So how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And I'm asking you that after hearing all this. How are you feeling? In conclusion, look at the three R's. We talked about restoration, we talked about resolution, and we talked about resiliency. Restoring your mindset to a place where you can overcome all difficulties. Okay. We also talked about restoration can be a way of renewing your inner self because it's very important that our inner selves, because whatever comes out of us is what's in us. Okay. So if your inner self is having issues, I promise you it's going to show on the outside. If you're angry about something, okay, it's going to show on the outside. You're not just angry to be angry, it's something going on in the inside. Okay. Resolution affirms decisions, being determined, make sure you stay the course. We also understand that resolution can partner with renewing our mindsets during the process of changing from one negative to a positive and how we look at our basic needs to survive. It goes back to the survival mode that we're in. Okay. Lastly, resilience is when recovering from difficult situation, the ideal that being resilient helps us to take some of the minor things that may cause setbacks to quickly bounce back and move on. So having that strong position dealing with resiliency, resolution, and reconciliation. Excuse me, my mind just right. Restoration, resolution, and resilience. Okay. So let's do this real quick. Let's go ahead and I am going to do a workbook page. We're going to do a little workbook page out of that real quick here. Let's find out. Okay. And so, what are the three R's? Resolution, restoration, and resilience. So, question number one. Name some adjectives that describes you. Okay. Number two. What steps would you take to restore your self worth? Okay. Number three. What are some resolutions you would need to find your self-worth? What resolutions you would use to find your self-worth? Number four, how would you change some of the negative attributes about yourself? Number five, how tough are you? Number six, is your toughness useful on your journey? If so, why? Number seven, have you experienced damage to your self worth? Is it long term or short term? Number eight, are you ready to change this damage? Number nine, do you ever feel as though you don't deserve to be happy? So these are the questions that go with that section of the book. Do you want me to ask them again? And it'd be interesting if I could get some answers from you guys. You have my email address that you can email me these answers. I'm going to say these questions again. Name some adjectives that describes you. Number two, what steps would you take to restore your self-worth? Number three, what are some resolutions you would need to find your self-worth? Number four, how would you change some of the negative attributes about yourself? Number five, how tough are you? Number six, is your toughness useful on your journey? If so, why? Number seven, have you experienced damage to your self worth? Is it long term or short term damage? Number eight, are you ready to change this damage? Number nine, do you ever feel as though you don't deserve to be happy? All right, those are the five questions to that section of the book. Okay, so let's see here. Let's do something else. And guys, definitely share with me what you think about that part. Let's see. Now, this is another part of the book that I think is so very, very important. Again, how are you feeling? How do we treat ourselves and how do we allow others to treat you? How are you feeling? These are very important questions because this can measure how we can stop the negativity that sometimes comes into our heads and leave doubt and uncertainty. If you're a person that is hard on yourself, okay, you actually do not allow yourself to find better ways to accept who you are. If you feel unworthy of compliments or people spending time with you or just doing something good for yourself, then you really need to examine why you truly feel that you're not deserving of these things. How are you feeling? You have to convince yourself that you do need and want positive things for you. It's important that you show your love for yourself first and foremost. All your imperfections, your hesitation in a conversation, your shyness, your constant twirling of your fingers, your tugging at your hair. This is you. Accept everything about you. This is you. Accept everything about you. Okay. Maybe there are things that you can sometimes change, but first you have to recognize them and accept them. Don't be angry at yourself because you are not like others. It's important to be unique. So, how are you feeling about yourself? Do you feel different? Do you look different than everybody else do? Do you look different than your siblings? Maybe their complexion is a little clearer than yours. Maybe yours is clearer than theirs. Maybe your hair is a little bit longer than their hair is. Maybe you're more slimmer and they're might have a little bit more heaviness to them. Okay, maybe you have the heaviness and everybody else is slimmer. And I'm just talking about the external. I'm not talking about the internal. But we know the internal has a lot to do with the external. Okay. So keep that in mind. And vice versa. Okay. Because we can look good on the outside and be ate up in the inside. And be filled with so much loss, so much craziness in the inside. Okay. So keep that in mind. So it says here, if if you always put yourself down in front of others, this will signify to others that you are comfortable with being diminished. Okay? Some people won't recognize their battle of emotions inside. Okay? They will react to you and your feelings. Once you change your view of yourself and others see that change, they will treat you how you treat yourself. We all have shortcomings and flaws that we will either see as something negative or something unique. It's up to you. So, how you see yourself is very important and it shows. Like, for instance, let's give you an instance for this. Say the ideal that I'm out with some people and I'm ashamed to eat because I might be got a little bit more meat on me than most people. So when you're offered something to eat and you say, no, I don't need any more of that. I'm fat already or I'm big already. If I eat this, I'm not going to be able to get out this chair. You're going to have to move out the way for me to walk through the door. So what you're doing is you low key and putting yourself down. And guess what happens to how it triggers people who are interacting with you? They're going to start looking at you just the way that you just described yourself. They're going to start treating you just the way that you treat yourself. So it's very important that we think highly of ourselves, despite our situations, our shortcomings, whatever. Despite those, we need to make sure that we don't feel that way and allow other people to accept that and allow us to talk to ourselves in that way. All right. So the questions to how we treat ourselves is how we allow others to treat us. Okay. So number one question is, how do you treat yourself and why? How do you treat yourself and why? Number two question is, do you have a problem with accepting compliments? Sometimes people do. I know there was a time when I did. And I think I still do sometimes. It depends on what it is. And I'll tell you why. Because I had low self-esteem. I didn't feel that I was worthy of a compliment. So I didn't accept the compliment. I heard it, but I didn't feel good about it. Okay. And I would say, no, that's not me. Automatically rejecting an opportunity for me to feel good about myself. I automatically put up a roadblock and rejected it just because I have issues, right? Number three, how do compliments make you feel? Just talking about compliments. Number four, do you believe in yourself? Number five, What do you truly want for yourself? Name 5 things you want for yourself and be clear. Number 6, ask your friends to tell you what they see in you. Get them to name 3 things about you. Now, if your friend is your friend, excuse me, y'all, I'm sorry. If your friend won't have no hesitation in giving you 3 things that they see you have that they have probably either something negative about you or positive, either one. Or you can do 3 negatives and 3 positives. Okay. But and your friend is going to be the person who actually can recognize those things in you. Keep that in mind. Okay. Number 7, do you talk negatively about yourself? Think of ways you can stop. Now, I just said something. I use an example of going out to eat with people, and maybe I'm on the heavy side. I sat there and through the whole conversation, instead of just eating the food and enjoying the atmosphere, I talked about how fat I was. I talked about how I shouldn't eat. I talked all the negative things about my appearance because that's how I felt in the inside. So instead of me sitting there and enjoying the meal, enjoying the company, laughing and talking with my friends, I found a way of diminishing myself. And they didn't even say anything. They're not even bothered by how I look. I'm bothered by it. But eventually, if I keep doing that over and over again, guess what? That's going to get them to start feeling that same way about me. Because, shoot, if I don't respect myself, if I don't care about myself, I'm going to continue to talk that way and I'm going to get my friends to agree with me. We don't realize we do that. It's not always funny to make fun of yourself, especially when you know it's not funny. It really hurts. It hurts me, even though I'm not bringing it out in that sense. But I know I'm hurting. I'm feeling ashamed because I'm big or I have weight on me. And I feel like that I don't deserve good food and good times and good. See, it's not really all about the food. It's about the atmosphere that you're in. Okay? It's about the ideal that you have an opportunity to hang out with your friends, laugh and joke and have a good time, but you're sitting up there spending time talking about yourself instead of enjoying the food or me, whichever way you want to go. So that's a good example of what I was saying. That's why these questions are so important. Um, and then number 8 is, can you identify when you feel the need to speak negatively about yourself? Number 9 is, do you know how to describe yourself to others without being negative? There's some people who don't know how to do that. You'd be surprised that there are people who do not say anything positive about themselves. When you're in a group of people, do this. Take some time out and kind of listen to how you actually talk to your friends. I'm not talking about gossiping. I'm talking about just a normal conversation that you have. Listen to how they talk if you're talking about something that's pertaining to you and them, listen to how they describe themselves or whatever the situation is, listen to how they talk about themselves. Okay. And see if you're hearing them talk about themselves negative. Okay. Uh, and we do it in a joking manner. Now, I know I do it because you know what I have a habit of doing? And sometimes, you guys, these are considered coping mechanisms when we're in uncomfortable situations. Yeah, they're coping mechanisms. I know I say, I don't deny that I have mental health issues. I'm kind of crazy like that. Did I need to say that? No. But whatever the conversation was, to me, I needed to validate if I would say something that anybody would think was crazy or out of the ordinary. Because, see, I got to fit in too, because this goes along with fitting in with your group of people. Okay. So you have to be careful of how you see yourself, because you'll have people say, "Oh, don't, ooh, Lord, don't talk to her. She crazy." And sometimes it's not funny when your friends are saying it to people that don't even know you. They haven't even got a chance to meet you. They haven't got a chance to have a conversation with you. It's all right if you say it, but it's not all right when you've made it comfortable for everybody else to say it. So you have to stop it with you. Or you make it think it's all right for you to say it. No, it's not all right. And I do it all the time. I do it jokingly, because I want people to know, um, that sometimes normalcy is not always equal. Okay. So if I do have some issues, and I'll say that, I'm either trying to be accepted, or it is the only way that I cope with things is to make sure I'm putting myself down and treating myself badly. Because words hurt, regardless of what we say. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Remember that saying? That's not true. Words hurt very harshly. I know. Okay. Because I know when I used to get very angry and I'd say some really, really, really rash things, I felt the hurt. And you have to have an empathetic spirit to understand that. Everybody doesn't have, people can be empathetic, but you have to have an empathetic spirit to understand how that hurts when you said something bad about somebody, or you feel guilty about something that took place. There's a difference. It's a big difference. We can talk about that too. Okay. So, and the last question is create a short story describing yourself. So, how would you describe yourself? Okay. How are you feeling? How would you describe yourself right now at this very instance? How would you describe yourself? And how important it is that you use positive words. Or I think I would love for you to answer this openly and honestly. If you describe yourself as a mean, hateful person with some issues, some trauma, some, just say it all. I would love to hear some of your answers to these questions. I would definitely want you guys to hit me up, email me. Okay. You can't clip my wings at gmail.com. YOUCANTCLIP wings, WINGS, at gmail.com. So we can discuss, and I would love to get these answers so that we could talk about it on the show. I don't have to tell your name, but I would love to hear how you answer these questions. I'm really curious about that. I guess you say, well, how did you describe? I didn't answer the questions. Hey, look, I'm the teacher. So I didn't answer the questions. But I think, wait. Let me see for sure. No. Uh, uh, I didn't answer. Let me see if I answered the first set. I answered some of them in here, but none of them were pertaining to the questions I asked you guys. No. I didn't. Okay. So let's see. Let's talk about. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out. Let's see another one here that I. Okay. So in the book, yeah, I'm telling you guys, this is a cute book to have. Um, oh, I know one in here that we haven't done yet. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, okay, this one. Okay, I found one that I actually answered. Let's see if I did it good. Let's see if I did it good. No, let me see if I did it right. Okay, so let's do this one. So there's a section in the book where it says "Be quiet." I actually put it on a T-shirt. Um, So you're like, what? You're saying be quiet. Why are you telling me to be quiet? Right? Is that how we do that? Why are you telling me to be quiet? Okay, so let's talk about why you need to be quiet. Okay? This is not a command, it's an action to self reflect. Be quiet so that your mind can calm down. Be quiet so that your spirit can heal. Be quiet so that you can count your heartbeats. Be quiet so that you can feel the tension in your muscles relax. Be quiet so that the butterflies in your stomach can slow down their fluttering. Be quiet so that you can hear your subconscious speak to you. Be quiet so that you can visualize your reflection of your life. Be quiet so that you can hear the tears fall down your cheeks, giving you a chance to cleanse your spirit of all the negativity and washing away all the darkness that can be in your soul. Be quiet and watch the birds conversate from the trees. Be quiet so that the unanswered questions can be heard and the answers are found on what you're searching for. Can you really be quiet? Not just stop talking, but be quiet to hear you. I would suggest that you write down what you hear in your silence, evaluate it, and if you have to go back, read it again over and over again, and read it out loud. Okay? So let's see here. Work, 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 work. So the first question is define be quiet from your perspective. So, me being who I am, I said silence your inner self and just listen to what you need, what your mind and body is telling you. The second question is we all need a be quiet moment. When do you give yourself a be quiet moment? If so, how do you feel afterwards? I said early in the morning, before meditation, after being ready to take on the world. So I do it early in the morning. Okay. Um, and I do that through meditation. Okay. Number three says be quiet can mean many things. Name five things that will lead you to your be quiet time. The need to relax, the need to reflect, the need to cleanse, the need to visualize, and the need to find answers. That's the five for me. Wow, I love that. Then number four says, when you be quiet, make sure to journalize that moment. So I want you guys to start. We're going to talk about journaling because I think that is so awesome. So we're going to talk about journaling. And I would even think to create a section in your journal called the Be Quiet Time and just kind of let that flow. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so this one only has five questions. So it says, the last question is, did you find this moment difficult to maintain and why? So were you able to maintain your be quiet time? Was you distracted by anything? I know you guys probably heard my dogs barking. I have to find somewhere else to go. But I have a great big closet, so I can go in my closet and shut the door and get my be quiet time in. Okay. So let me go over the questions again for the be quiet time. Number one, define be quiet from your perspective. Number two, we all need a be quiet moment. When do you give yourself a be quiet moment? If so, how do you feel afterwards? Number three, be quiet can mean many things. Name five things that will lead you to a be quiet time. Number four, when you be quiet, make sure to journalize that moment. And the last question was, did you find this moment difficult to maintain and why? Wow. Isn't that awesome? Okay. So you're like, I'm gonna go through. I want to do something else. You want to do one more? Let's do one more. We didn't do the whole book, but let's do one more. And the one that I found was give yourself time. Give yourself time is real good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about giving yourself time. Okay, give yourself time to think, to heal, to love, to cry, and make mistakes, and then learn from them. Time is important for many reasons, and those reasons will play a role in your journey to love yourself. Okay? Time can be your friend or it can be your enemy. It's all up to you. Giving yourself time to think, your thoughts can affect how you feel about what you want, who you want to be, and where you want to go. Thinking can also give you a reason to make changes in your life if the changes are needed. Thinking has a way of allowing self inventorying and self discovery to take place. Thinking can also give you power to make decisions that will help you feel complete. Your thoughts are so important and relevant that you have to realize they can become the major reason you either remain the same or become elevated and change. Because that is our ultimate goal when it comes to us, is to find a way to make positive changes in our lives. How are you feeling? A time to heal. You honestly need to have time to heal from all your hurts. A bad breakup, a loss of a job, broken friendships, family problems, and financial issues. Healing is very much needed, especially when so much is going on. I personally had to really work hard on healing, especially after I was raped in the military. I didn't think I deserved to heal, that blaming myself was my punishment. So healing was not in my book at that time. When I realized that I no longer have to feel guilty about the rape, I started to heal because that was my first version, or my first feeling of healing, is when I stopped blaming myself. That was my way. It was like a little door that opened up because I stopped blaming myself. Timing was everything. It took me many, many years to heal. I still have my moments and I work those times out. Okay. That's when I do my be quiet time. When I was about to get married, I felt that I didn't deserve to be loved enough to have a husband and a happy life. But time allowed me to heal and be happy during my marriage. When a tragedy such as rape, it's a different type of timing that is needed to heal. So many things have to take place, so much has to be taken away from you. The main thing that was stolen is power. Your power was taken away from you. You find yourself spending many years trying to regain it. This is why we have to go through the process. Everyone's story is different. Some people are still in the process of healing. Some people haven't started the process. They spend more time avoiding the inevitable. Some people, some become comfortable in their misery, and that is why we have to end the cycle and begin to heal. You deserve time to heal. You deserve time to love. Loving yourself should be the first thing you learn to do, no matter how long it will take. Loving has to be a priority. Loving yourself has to be a priority. We often make decisions that don't give us time to think it through before we call ourselves in love. We don't give ourselves time. We're just in love because sometimes we're desperate to be the attention of others. We're desperate to be loved in general, and that can encounter a lot. Okay. Our very need to be loved has us making many mistakes, incorrect clues, signs, and actions, and our thought processes, and our very own definition of love, which can have us hurt and disillusioned, depressed, and not really feeling anything resembling what love is supposed to feel. When you take time to love yourself, you can easily love others and find satisfaction in all your relationships. Because of the fact that you finally put yourself first before you love anyone else, you must. It is a must that you love yourself first. My struggles with loving me had to stop when I realized blaming myself for what happened to me was the reason I couldn't love myself. I couldn't love me because I was blaming myself. I spent so much time blaming me. Okay. It got easier when I took a moment and looked within myself and when I could say, I love you to me, and that was worthy of love. Things started to change for me. I became empowered and I was ready to make that leap and love someone else with all of me. I was able to do that. Okay. Allowing yourself room to love you is such an important step in giving yourself time to improve yourself. And lastly, give yourself time to cry. It's important to cleanse the spirit and your soul. There's no specified time to cry, but I will advise you to cry for a time and then move on. You're on a mission to find yourself. So crying can give you a clear path to on your journey, excuse me. While you're crying, concentrate on what, why, and who you are crying for. We found out that timing is everything and it gives you time to think, heal, love, and cry. It's nothing to be ashamed of, especially when you're in the process of finding yourself. So those are the things that you can do. Okay, so give yourself time because that's very important. How are you feeling? Number one, define time from your perspective. Number two, in what ways would you give yourself time to think, heal, love, cry, and cry? Explain each. Number three, name some things that would prevent you from giving yourself time. Number four, how important is your time to you? Number five, do you think that others allow you to give yourself time? Why and why not? Okay, so those are the questions for In Search of You and Giving Yourself Time, which is a version of the book, a section in the book. So I hope these questions really, really went there for you guys. We're definitely going to be coming back and talking more. I want to get your answers. Remember, you can't clip my wings. YOUCAT, CATCLIPMYWINGS@gmail.com, and let me know what you guys came up with those answers. Again, I want to thank AOC. I want to thank LUS and Cox Cable for this opportunity to do this show. You guys, we're going to be bringing back some great stuff. Okay, we're going to be doing some great things here, and I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Again, In Search of You and the workbook that goes with it. Real quick, I want to tell you a little bit about my workbook picture. I also do photography work from time to time. And this is my oldest sister, and she is a cancer survivor. And I took this picture of her. We were doing some pictures, and I said, I love this picture. I said, I want to put this on the front of my workbook. So she let me do it. This is also one of my pictures I did of actually, I think, right out in front of my house. And I thought it was cool to put it on my books. So yeah, these are our workbooks. This is the workbook, and this is the book. So Definitely just something you guys can think about. Um, those questions, I want you guys to definitely answer them. And again, how are you feeling? Because I want to know how you're feeling. Um, I'm definitely going to be back, and we're going to be talking about some more books that I've done, that I have workbooks to. And I also want to share with you some of the books that I've already, they're ebooks. Majority of my books, those are probably the only ones that I've actually done a printing, published, printing them out. Majority of the books are on ebook. I did it in ebook form, so you would have access to it if you wanted to. We can talk about that. So, wow. So I have, we can talk about our next couple of books that I have. We'll go through some of them because there's some real good information in there that I definitely want to share. And I'm very much so in empowering women, as you know. So a lot of these books are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about coaching, um, finding your niche in coaching, because we actually have a workbook that does an assessment on if that's what you want to do, and we can go over some of those questions too. Um, you guys, I'm just so excited, and again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. I want to thank Lafayette for this opportunity to be sitting in your area, and sharing. And you guys definitely share this show. Let everybody know that we're on the Empower Her show, talk show with Coach Celeta is here for you guys. Again, thank you guys. I want to say have a great evening and bye bye.